Second question, I gather is sort of how much does our actual business experience versus book experience help us, or is it?
Well, I'd say, if you look at a person who has just like 2 years of being in the business of investing and versus a person who has been for 10 years in the business of investing, and say the person who has been for 2 years, has read a lot about, Ben Graham's techniques and your techniques and say Peter Lynch techniques. So would you say that the person who has only 2 years of experience may do much better than the second person?
Well, if everything else is equal, everything else is equal, except the amount of experience you've had. I think the experience is probably useful, but it isn't going to be equal. I think it's way more important what you've thought about for 2 years than what you practiced for 10 years. So if there's a divergence in techniques applied, I would rather be with the one that I'm philosophically in sync with. If I'm philosophically in sync with both, and one's had 10 years of experience, the chances are they will know a little bit more about more businesses if they've been around for 10 years looking at them than if they've been around for 2 years. But the biggest thing is that basically they've got their heads screwed on right in the first place in terms of how they value businesses and how they look at stocks, as whether they look at them as pieces of businesses or whether they look at them as little things that move around and that you can tell a lot by looking at charts or listening to strategists on or something of the sort. Charlie?
I've watched Warren for a long time now, and I would say he's actually getting better as he gets older. Not at golf or many other activities, but
stay with generalities.
As an investor, he's better. Which I think is remarkable. It shows that scale of experience matters.
Yeah, it helps somewhat to have seen a lot of business situations. Charlie talks about models, and you construct your models as you go along based on observation. And your models will, if you're paying attention, your models will be somewhat better the more years you spent really observing and not just trying to make everything fit into what you saw the first few years.